On this week's episode of Nikon's Birding Adventures, we're featuring the extreme diversity of northwest Peru. First, we're going to start off in the interior dry forests, looking for unique birds like Peruvian plantcutters, and then we're going to head down to the little coastal village of Cabo Blanco, where we're going to walk in the footsteps of Ernest Hemmingway. We're also going to learn about the rich fishing history of the area, and then we're going to hopefully experience some of the coastal and seabirds as well. Let's go birding. The dry forests of northwest Peru are certainly uncharted territory, and it was really useful to head out with local guide Diego Garcia and gain a local's perspective on this incredible region. The Piura district forms part of what BirdLife International calls the Tumbesian endemic bird area, one of the most biodiverse areas on Earth, comprising northwest Peru and southwest Ecuador. This endemic bird region holds many species of birds found nowhere else on Earth. Unfortunately, less than 5% of the area remains forested, making this area and its birds one of the most important conservation priorities in all of South America. We visit two of the most important deciduous forests within this endemic bird area, the acacia thorn forests and the higher altitude saber dry forests. Approximately 55 species of birds are endemic to the Tumbes area and are found nowhere else on Earth. The dry acacia forest holds many of these species, like Tumbes sparrows, Pacific parrotlets, short-tailed wood stars, Baird's flycatchers, necklace spinetails, superciliated wrens, cinereous finch, white-edged orioles, and the striking Tumbes tyrants. But one of these birds is particularly significant.
We're in this dry forest and we've just seen some amazing birds. My personal favorite is this Peruvian plantcutter that we've been looking at.
The attractively colored Peruvian plantcutter is a member of the Cotinga family of birds. It is unique because it feeds nearly exclusively on leaves, cutting them with a specially serrated bill, hence its peculiar name. The males, with their subtle red and grey plumage, look very different from the streaked females. It is one of the rarest of the three plantcutter species, and while the other two species are widely distributed, the Peruvian plantcutter is limited to a precious few fragmented sites in northwest Peru. Recent estimates project that there may be as few as 1,500 birds left on the planet, and it has been classified as endangered by the IUCN. The priority now is to protect the last remaining slithers of habitat so that we can prevent this species from continuing further down the slippery slope towards extinction.
We've got scarlet-backed woodpecker, one of the most beautiful woodpeckers in the world. This is a stunning bird with that bright red back. When one thinks of antshrikes, one thinks of birds living in the understory of tropical rainforests. Well, that could not be further from the truth right here in the dry forest of northwest Peru, because here is a wonderful antshrike called the collared antshrike.
Collared antshrikes are one of the more striking of the Tumbesian endemic birds. The males are handsomely outfitted in a black cap and collar, whilst the females are more uniformly tawny brown in colour. They are usually found in pairs in the understory of dry deciduous forest in northwest Peru and southwest Ecuador. Having spent a fantastic day birding the acacia dry forests, we journey further inland through the extremely scenic landscape to the higher altitude Sabre dry forest. This is an area which few travellers have ever been to, and as a result, tourist facilities are basically non-existent.
We've just arrived at Waval. This is higher altitude dry forest. We're going to set up camp here for the night, and first thing tomorrow morning, we're going to go bird the surrounding forest. This is going to be an awesome experience.
As we got closer to our overnight destination of Waval, the road petered out into this off-road track, and then our only way to cross over the river to the camping site was via an extremely narrow pedestrian bridge.
Bravo! Yeah! Oh yeah!
So we just arrived to Waval. Here is the place where we're going to set up the camp.
So here we are at the campsite, and there's this tiny little village here, and we're actually camping on a soccer field.
Before heading off to bed, we just couldn't resist searching for one of the uncommon owls of this part of Peru.
It's amazing, within like minutes, 3 or 4 Peruvian screech owls have come in around us over here, and we've just got one of them for about 30 seconds just sitting on a branch. We've got to be very careful when we use playback. These birds are very territorial. We don't want to overdo it, so we're going to move out of this area now, go get some Z's, and catch you all tomorrow.
This Birding Adventures episode is powered by Nikon, your world leader in optics since 1917, and sponsored in part by the Inca Terra family of hotels, authentic nature travel since 1975.
So it's dawn at Waval, and we've just woken up to this amazing chorus around us, this dawn chorus in the dry forest here. We're at about 700 to 800 meters above sea level here, so a totally different habitat to the lowland dry forest where we were yesterday afternoon. Now this morning, Diego and Elio have got some amazing surprises for us. So let's get birding and see what's out there.
The dry sabre forests are truly magnificent, quite unlike any other forest I've ever visited. The giant green sabre trees with their bulbous trunks dominate the environment here, and countless birds flit amongst the epiphytes. The mornings are a cacophony of birdsong, and I readily ticked off more of the Tumbesian endemics. Highlights included Pacific Elania, the rare slaty beckhard, the large plumbeous-backed thrush, and the tiny Ecuadorian piculet, which is one of the smallest woodpeckers on Earth, amazingly about a third smaller than a house sparrow.
Got a fasciated wren here. This is a really striking wren. It's a large wren that's got these really bold markings and stripes on it. In fact, there's another one, there's 2 of them. They're preening each other on the branches here. They're actually preening each other. And these are very territorial wrens with very strong bonds between the pairs. So they're going to sit there together, they're going to make their call, and they're going to defend their territory against any other intruders. What a great bird, fasciated wren. So last night we had a Peruvian screech owl. Fantastic views of it around our camping site on the soccer field. And we've now come out this morning, and calling right around us here is a Peruvian pygmy owl. one of the diurnal species of owls that are to be found in this area. You've got him, huh?
Yeah.
Got him? Just come into that tree. The most common tree in the dry forest is called algorobo, and the fruit is called algoroba. And from this fruit is made an amazing sweet, almost like a honey, and it's called algorobina. And this is it right here, and it's made from these almost like acacia beans, and I'm going to try it right now. Beautiful. It tastes almost like chocolate honey. Gracias.
This Birding Adventures episode is powered by Nikon, your world leader in optics since 1917, and sponsored in part by Prom Peru.
The area around Cabo Blanco is not only famous for its fishing, but it's also incredibly famous for its waves. Some of the best waves in all of Peru are to be found here. This morning, I'm at Mancora, a break just to the north of Cabo Blanco. Let's go surfing. Awesome little left wave here at Mancora, and we're going to now go check out the fishing and the birding.
Once again, you stand here at Cabo Blanco, where Peru shoves a great shoulder of land into the Pacific. You've come back to the invisible banks of one of the greatest of ocean rivers, the Humboldt Current.
There's just so much history here. This is the Cabo Blanco Fishing Club. In the 50s, there was over 32 or 33 black marlin, over 1,000 pounds caught out of here. Hemmingway fished here, John Wayne, Marilyn Monroe, Ted Williams, all of the greats, all of the hot shots of the day came to Cabo Blanco. You can almost kind of feel the ghost running around in here. It's nothing like it was, I'm sure, but you can imagine what it was like back then with the 1,200-pound marlin hanging up there over the fireplace. Pablo over there tended bar. It had to be great.
Mi amigo, mi bar. Hemmingway aquí y Pablo acá. Hemmingway era una persona muy amable con todos. Él iba a pescar a las 8 y venía a las 4 de la tarde, todos los días con su señora María.
The world's best anglers know Cabo Blanco now. There's a long list hunting the same thing you are. The really big marlin, the one nobody's seen.
Cabo Blanco in the 50s was probably the most exciting fishing place on the planet. Guys were coming down here and finding big black marlin and a lot of them.
No recuerdo bien el año, ¿verdad? Pero fue un Merlin que fue un récord mundial, pues, ¿no?
Una comitiva de 20 personas, salían los 4 yates. Él se pescó 9 merlines.
Hay gente que a veces tiene la suerte de que se encuentra hasta 5 o 6 black marlin, ¿ya? En un día.
Now here we are, 50, 55 years later, nobody knows what's out there as far as sports fishing is concerned. I think the fish are here. I think it's just been completely untapped for a long, long time.
It's a river probably more full of life than any other in the seven seas. Birds by the tens of millions feed from it, and still it teems with marine life.
When it comes to how the fish and the birds relate to one another, this is a very symbiotic relationship in a lot of ways, because the fish push the bait up or chow down on the bait and leave pieces in the water. Somehow they find them. So what we see, the activity of the birds tells us a lot. Sometimes we see the birds and there's good numbers of them, but they're doing the same thing we're doing. They're hunting. When they find their food, they act differently. You can just tell how they act. They're a little more aggressive. They're also working close to the water. So the birds are a very strong indicator. I mean, because the birds aren't there doesn't necessarily mean the fish aren't there. But if the birds are there and they're working the water, you know there's bait fish. And the whole thing out there revolves around food. The big fish go where the groceries are. They've got to have them. And if those birds are working the water, bait's there, the big fish are probably around pretty close.
The Inca Terra family of hotels, along with the Peruvian government, are attempting to restore Cabo Blanco to the fishing mecca that it was in the 1950s through sustainable conservation of resources that benefit the local fishermen around this tiny village. They're hoping to create a marine reserve here and once again attract the sports fishermen from around the world to take advantage of the bounty of fish life, which no doubt exists still out in the ocean beyond the Cabo Blanco pier.
This Birding Adventures episode is powered by Nikon, your world leader in optics since 1917, and sponsored in part by LAN Airlines.
Just north of Cabo Blanco is a little fishing pier in a tiny village called El Muro. And this place is famous for its green turtles. They come here in numbers to feed off the scraps from the fishermen. Let's get a closer look at these awesome marine creatures. So let's go see these turtles. Woo! Just one of the many attractions of the Cabo Blanco area are these amazing turtles here, or in Spanish, tortuga. These Peruvian pelicans are the most common pelican along the Peruvian coastline, and they're much larger than the similar brown pelican that exists in North America and Central America. And there are small numbers of brown pelican around too, but you're not going to mistake them because these Peruvian pelicans are gigantic. Walking the beaches of Cabo Blanco, we came across the seal carcass behind me. And there were a whole lot of black and turkey vultures feeding on it. And it always amazes me that so much grandeur is placed upon the condors, the Andean condor and the California condor, and these birds are regarded as trash. They have a bad reputation because they urinate on their legs and they're foul smelling. But I can tell you that these are just a smaller version of the condors, and they play a very important role in keeping the beaches around places like Cabo Blanco clean and free of rotting carcasses. Northwestern Peru has been one of the most fantastic experiences of my birding career. It's just so unique. The dry forests of the northwest, close to Cabo Blanco, are fascinating with their endemic and near-endemic species. The Tumbesian birds that we saw up there, camping up there in the dry forest was just an experience that was unforgettable. And then coming down to the historic little town of Cabo Blanco.
If you enjoy getting off the beaten track, then this area is definitely for you. I would like to commend the Inca Terra family of hotels for their efforts in establishing a marine reserve around Cabo Blanco, and it really is my hope that through sustainable conservation, this area can once again attract birders and sports fishermen to take advantage of the area's natural resources in a sustainable way.
You've never been before, and it's hard to be happy and